We didn't really have one. We actually... we had a family reunion scheduled that he just happened to die right before. So it turned into a celebration of life. But he had a hospice care person that wasn't full-time, but I'm pretty sure she put us in contact with someone from the VA, if I'm getting the story right. And that person gave us a flag, which I have, that the VA presented us as like a memorial thing. And then we had like a big picture of him. And then I really don't remember anyone like eulogizing, you know? It almost felt like it was so unexpected that we all just kind of reacted. That makes any sense. If someone did, I don't remember it. And that would have been...
Because you were 16?
Yeah, that would have been 13 years ago. It was in 2012. And so yeah, I wouldn't remember it if someone did. Or I should remember it if someone did. I don't. So I'm assuming nobody did.
What was your last memory of him?
That's a really good question. What is my last memory of him? I've never thought of that before.
The last time you saw him?
Yeah, I really... If I had to guess, so that would have been, maybe the holidays of 2011.
Christmas before he died?
Yeah, because I think we went up there to visit. If it wasn't for the holidays, it was sometime around there because Brian was living with them. He had lost his job, and instead of looking for a new job, he went up there to help Mema take care of Popi. And he lived up there for a while and did a lot. I mean, he was really, really big because where McRae is, it's like 30, 45 minutes away from Helena and Eastman, which are the closest, like, two big cities, and they're not big. And one of them had a VA, the other one had one of his doctors, and Mema was just getting to the point where she couldn't drive him every single day, or every other day even, and then also get groceries, and then also get food. And so Brian was like a huge help. And so I think we went up there to visit, and we saw them. I think so. My parents would remember that probably better. I certainly think I probably called him for his birthday that year, which would have been in March, but he passed away in September. There's a decent chance that he and I spoke like right before I started school in August, because he used to call us every year before school. And he didn't have much to say, but he and Mema would at least call us. Yeah, so that would be my guess, but I've never thought about that before. I really don't know what my last memory of him was. It's almost just like he was there and then he wasn't. But at the time, like I said, I was really upset with him, and so I feel like I probably wasn't paying much attention.
Do you remember your first memory of him?
When they lived in Orlando, they lived off of Redfern and on OET, on Orange Blossom Trail, and that was like the house that they first had when I was around. And if I had to pick, I guess at first, it would just be him doing one of two things, either sitting out on the back porch smoking. They had this huge back porch, and it was just like loaded with toys because I was the youngest of the 10. So, I had everyone's hand-me-downs of hand-me-downs, and I would just play with them. So it would probably be him smoking back there, and if not that, then him in his room. He had like a little tiny room, and he had the first ever smart TVs. They were computers that you would hook up to a TV, and he'd sit on his smart TV computer with his arm behind his head and his little keyboard mouse and do whatever on the internet. You know how I sleep with my arm behind my head?
Yeah.
He did exactly that. I don't know if that's hereditary, but it's certainly something he and I share. He'd walk by and it looked like he was just chilling and he'd just be asleep. So that'd probably be the first one.
So you started last September.
Yeah.
And your last episode was August 26th.
That's the plan, yeah.
Almost a whole year
Mhm.
spent on this.
Yeah.
And you knew that it was going to be a huge time commitment.
Yeah.
So when you started, what were you trying to get out of this project? And do you think you accomplished it?
I feel like because of the pain that he brought, there was a lot that people, just all of us, didn't really want to talk about. And I mean, even today, with my two uncles who are still alive, I mean, they don't really like to talk about it. And it's just because they say, oh, you know, he did this, he did that. And I understand that, but as a researcher, this was all super interesting because it's a personal archive, it's a personal narrative, it's all of these things. But as a grandson, it's interesting because, you know, there's a lot that wasn't being said. There's a lot that was just like hidden, and I wanted to know. And after we got him interred, I don't know, I just realized that honesty and being incredibly honest about everything was sort of liberating in a way. And so learning about his service really helped, I think, heal in a way, and I think it helped fill the gaps of just, you know, why did he become the person he became. And so as far as like what I hoped to get out of this, I think I just wanted, I don't want to say answers, but I wanted to learn the truth, and I wanted to learn it the way that he told it, even if it was to Mema 60 years ago. And, you know, I don't want to say I didn't want his sacrifices to be in vain, but I understood that he had a really, really tough, you know, I guess start to his life, or really, really tough 20s. And I just wanted to know what those were like. And I guess I wanted other people to know too. So it almost like, in a weird way, I wanted to help give meaning of some sort to his suffering. And then by extension, all the other suffering that he caused other people, I guess. So I think I accomplished it. I feel like I did a good job, and I think I got to do the thing that I wanted the way that I wanted to do it. So I'm really happy with that.
August 8th, 2025. Dear Popi, ever since I decided this is what I was going to do for the show, I've been trying to figure out some big, poetic thing to write to you, almost as if it were my single chance to say anything meaningful to you. I realized that I didn't need to do that. I'm hoping that this isn't my last letter to you. If that's the case, then instead, I'm just going to do my best to speak plainly and from the heart. To start, I just want to say, I miss you. I've done a lot since you've been gone. I graduated high school, college, moved to New York City for a while, got my PhD, married an amazing woman, and I even have a good bit of interest in getting my book published. I'd like to think that you'd have been proud of me. I look back on the photos of me with my family and friends from those major events, and I always notice you're not there. It makes me sad. I used to be angry with you, and I'm sorry for that. As a teen, I told myself you chose smoking over more time with me and everyone else. If that's the case, I forgive you. But knowing what I know now, I don't think it is. No matter if you had quit before I was even born, I think you were just tired. We all know you couldn't sleep much. I think you were tired and just needed rest. I hope you've found peace now. I know now that it's cliche, but at the time of your passing, I had never heard the thing about cardinals being our deceased loved ones checking up on us and watching over us. The morning after you passed, when I woke up on the couch in the den in your old house in McRae, I caught Mema standing at the sink, staring out the window, mesmerized by a cardinal. She later told me she thought it was you. I like to think that she was right. I like to think that you had some fun flying again. Today, when I find myself feeling down, I honestly have this uncanny ability to notice cardinals outside. I like to think that it's you checking in, especially when I need it. I've done what I can to help take care of everyone in the family. I'm not so sure how well I've done, but that wasn't really your strong suit either, so that's fine. Your Suzie has had a really tough past year, but you'd be proud of her. She's a fighter. She wants to see you again, but she's certainly in no rush. You can wait. Just think of it as payback for all the time you spent on the tuna boat. But your boys are doing well. At least Bruce and Brian are. Brett's getting there, hopefully. I know it's nothing compared to what you went through, but it's been a long year working on this project. You'd be happy to know I was paid really well to do it. It's been quite the experience, one I'll always cherish. Call it serendipity, call it a higher plan, but it's amazing that on the 60-year anniversary of your letters, we're the same age. Knowing where me and my friends are in life, all I can say is that you and your friends were tough. You went through a lot and paid handsomely for it. You guys never really recovered. But I honestly believe your sacrifices had purpose, and they made the world a better place, even if they made your lives a living hell. I learned a lot from your letters, more from any book or movie I've read or seen about Vietnam. Thank you for writing them and keeping them. Thank you for marrying a hard-headed Hungarian who wouldn't listen to you when you told her to throw them out. You had so much to say about life in Vietnam and the war in general. Thank you for saying it and for being honest about things. I know you couldn't talk about everything when you got home, so I'm thankful we at least had these. I'm even more proud of you and revere your sacrifices even more now, and I didn't think that was possible. I'm blessed because I had the chance to help your stories live on. I was able to do a dream project the way I wanted to, and I'm proud of it. Similar to putting on a mask, dancing around a campfire, telling stories, and truly embodying the figure you wore on your face, I got to see what it was like to be you, if at least for a few hours a month. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Thank you for that.
So last time I was here, my dad was he was pointing out all of Poppy's neighbors to me, how impressive they all were, which is kind of funny. So he's over in this plot, but before we get to him, I want to show you, if you look on the backside of the graves, they have the significant others of the service members, also their cremains. So it just shows the mothers, the wives, all those things of the people, which I think is pretty neat. For me, all wants to end up one day, which would be nice. So he's going to be over this way. Here's Obi. So I guess just some things about it, because we actually put a lot of time into it. He chose an angel, or we chose an angel for him. He always said that he had a guardian angel when he was flying, and that's how he got through the war. And so we thought an angel would be best. Yeah, he was Christian, as we've talked about, but figured his angel would keep looking over him. So it's a Chief Warrant II, U.S. Army, he served in Vietnam. It was his birth date and his death date. But underneath it, if you want to take a closer look, the BSM is for Bronze Star. And then underneath, we actually had this really big conversation about what we wanted to put. Because you have two lines to put whatever you want. And I guess some people get to choose. We talked about it for a while, and we came to a patriot finally at rest. He really identified as a patriot and loving the country, and he didn't get to rest much. So a patriot finally at rest is what we went with. I didn't get to bring him one, but he likes coffee, so I'm gonna give him a little coffee. I hope he appreciates it. Well, I'll close for now. I have too much to say and I'm all out of words.
Just know that we all love you. We all miss you. We're all proud of you. We're thankful that you're at peace. Like I said earlier in this letter, I didn't intend it to be my last, so I'll write again. Yours truly, Alex. P.S. Meemaw said to give Missy a good belly scratcher on her behalf. She knows that poor girl is in good hands. P.P.S. I hope you and Charlie have had a happy reunion.
Dear audience, I want to thank you for keeping up with the podcast this past year. Whether you listened to every episode or were only able to catch a few, every second you've spent with this project has been appreciated. As a researcher, anthropologist, student, grandson, whatever you want to call me, projects like this are rare. Everyone wants to pursue their passion, but all too often you get bogged down with conversations of funding, always having to justify why someone would pay you what you're asking to write a book or a podcast series like this. The phrase they use in academia is that you have to be, quote, actively contributing to the production of knowledge, whatever that means. Well, one of my contributions can now be this. Part family history, part memoir, part narcissistic indulgence, part personal history, Dearest Suzie is one of my contributions. There are a few things I hope you've been able to get from this work. First off, I hope you are reminded of how hard war can be, not just for the individual serving, but for their family and friends and their nation back home. It's no small request when you ask someone to grab a rifle, travel across the world, and shoot at someone they don't know. It does things to someone's mind. It changes a nation's very soul. I'm certainly no pacifist or isolationist, but it's always important to consider the consequences of our actions. This project highlights a few of the consequences. Whether they be emotional, mental, biological, or historical, they are always there. Secondly, I hope I've inspired you. Not that I've done anything heroic or special. We all know who I think the hero of this story truly is. But I hope you've been inspired to start asking questions to your own family. You can make your own connections. Explain things to yourself with the truth. It isn't hard to record your grandmother and you having a conversation. It may be time-consuming, but it's worth scanning your grandfather's letters. Don't be afraid to share those things, especially not with me. These histories are important and worth preserving. Truth and knowledge are always worth the pursuit. Even if you're the sole benefactor, I assure you it's better than letting everything get lost. Pardon me if I get too philosophical or esoteric here, but I hope you can follow me. Perhaps the most important thing I've learned by doing this is that nothing and no one is ever truly gone. Before I started this work, when I'd sit down with Mema and talk about Popi, she'd always talk about how much she loved him. Past tense, it's done, it's over, he's gone. But after speaking with her and reckoning with the inheritance of mine, I've started saying that she loves him. I love him. The love is not gone. It is, after all, eternal. Just because someone is gone does not mean that the love faded away. Love is eternal and true and good. So just because someone isn't here doesn't mean I can't love them. Something like this would not have actually been produced without love. And perhaps we express our love to our family in different ways. Perhaps we're not always speaking the same language with our expressions, but I hope that the people that care about me understand that this is mine. I didn't do this for me. I did it for us. I did it for him. It has been an honor to tell Popi's story. I hope you've enjoyed it. There are a few people I'd like to thank. Obviously, first is Mema. We'll talk more about her later. Next is my parents, for their support, and more specifically, my dad. I know it was hard for him at times to talk about his dad, but I hope that these things have helped him understand Popi better, and I appreciate him always telling me stories about Popi. Even if things with his dad weren't always perfect, at least he was proud of what he did. My wife, she's been the best sounding board for ideas. My friends, who have listened to old war stories about a guy they never met, perhaps he helps explain who I am a little better. Finally, I'd like to thank all veterans who are listening for their service. This is a true and sincere thank you. Your sacrifices should be revered. Your troubles should not be ignored. Your accomplishments should not go unnoticed. Thank you all for your service. We would not be the beautiful country that we are if it weren't for you. In the video you just watched, I show my visit to the Florida National Cemetery. The cemetery is located in Bushnell, Florida, about 50 miles north of Tampa. It was established in 1988 on land that had previously been part of the Withlacoochee State Forest, which itself was once a tract used for U.S. military training during World War II. The cemetery spans over 500 acres and is one of the busiest national cemeteries in the country, serving the large veteran population of Florida. The site was chosen both for its proximity to major veteran communities and for its tranquil, forested landscape. The cemetery is notable for its avenue of flags, memorial pathway lined with donated memorials, and its carillon program that honors veterans through daily chimes. Since its dedication, Florida National Cemetery has become the final resting place for hundreds of thousands of veterans and their family members. We interred Popi's ashes there a few years ago. At the end of the video, I left a penny. Leaving coins on military graves is a way to honor fallen service members and quietly communicate a connection with them. A penny simply means someone visited. A nickel signifies that the visitor trained with the service member at boot camp, while a dime means they served together in some capacity. A quarter carries the most personal weight, showing that the visitor was present when the service member died. The practice became widespread after the Vietnam War, offering a respectful way to pay tribute without intruding on the family. If you ever decide to visit Popi, he's in section 616, site 462. Consider leaving a penny so he knows you were there. Maybe bring him some coffee too. The final story I'd like to tell is also very recent. When I cleaned out Meemaw's trailer with her years ago, I snagged all of Popi's VHS tapes. It wasn't until about a week or two ago that I was able to get a VCR to look at them. I had 3 tapes of interest, one which read Grandma's 90th birthday party, another that said Lowy family, and one simply labeled Folks. In my excitement, I started with Folks, expecting it to be something showing Popi's parents. Instead, I saw a video of Tom Selleck in New York City and discovered that he made a movie in the 90s with that title. Next, I looked at the Lowy family one, really having no idea what it could be, only to find that it was a muted slideshow of Popi's photos. The exact slideshow that he showed everyone, including me and my cousins in North Carolina when we were kids. It was a funny little technological relic of a time when people thought VHSs were the future and film was a thing of the past. Finally, not expecting what I'd see at this point, I popped in the birthday party tape. I quickly found that it was a video recorded by my Uncle Jim. It was filmed in McRae, and it was my great-great-grandmother's 90th birthday party in 1988. On that tape, there was a video of Popi, laughing and smiling with his family. He and Mema are in it with one of my cousins when she's very little. It brought tears to my eyes to see a video of Popi again. It was good to see him smiling. It was very good. So, don't throw away any old tapes until you go through them. You might throw out something you'll never be able to get back. With that, I will end. I've gone on far too long. My best, Alex. Dearest Suzie. Actually, let's just say Dear Mema. It feels weird to call you Suzie, even though I've been doing it for a year. I want to thank you again for all you've given me. This project has been a dream to work on, and it's in part because we got to talk. We got to discuss your life, and I got to learn more about who Popi was. You've always been such a kind and caring person, and you can tell from your stories how much that warmth has echoed through our family. Your sense of humor and wit are stuff of family legend, and always will be. I understand more now why you talk about Popi the way you do. Perhaps people listening to this will hear the stories of who he was when he got back from Vietnam and be critical towards you, asking why you didn't leave Popi and protect your kids from him. Maybe that's a fair question, even if I wouldn't categorize it as such. Now that I've done this, I've read his letters as he wrote them. I've experienced the long time frame. I better understand him. And I better understand you. You had your reasons for your actions, which are always your own, and I believe you made the best decisions you could. Most importantly, this past year, you've showcased your strength. You told me I could mention this, so I will. For those of you listening, Mema was diagnosed with stage 4 throat cancer last fall. She was given the option of cutting out her vocal cords, effectively meaning she'd never be able to speak again, which, if you knew her, is impossible to consider. Doing nothing, which gave her a very, very short time frame to live, or undergoing chemo and radiation to fight the cancer. She chose to fight. You may think you're tough, but I assure you, it's pretty hard to be as tough as an 84-year-old woman with advanced stage throat cancer and choosing to fight it head on. That's pretty tough. I visited her in March, towards the end of her treatment, when she had been undergoing chemo and radiation for about 6 weeks. She was tired. She was cranky. She couldn't talk. In fact, she couldn't even eat. The radiation swelled her throat, and she had to get a feeding tube put in. Sitting at the kitchen table with her in North Carolina, watching as the protein shake worked its way through her feeding tube, I told her I was proud of her for fighting. She didn't say much that weekend, but she took a deep breath, looked me in the eyes, and said, "Life's too good not to fight for it." What a humbling thing for you to say, Mema. What a showcase of strength. I'm very proud of the strength and character you've shown fighting through this in the past year. Most importantly, I'm thankful that you found out 2 months ago that you beat the cancer. I don't know how many people in your position would have chosen to do what you did, but I know that any time I think life is hard and I might want to quit at whatever I'm doing, I'll always remember that life's too good not to fight for it. Thank you for showing all of us that. Thank you for taking me to Mass and talking to me about God. You're really the only religious person in my family, and I'm happy to have had you as an example. I have faith, I do believe, and I like to think that's because of you. I'm better off for it. Mema, you have always been resilient and strong. Fighting is encoded in your DNA. I don't envy your upbringing. I don't envy the fact that you had to raise 3 kids by yourself for a whole year while your husband was getting shot at on the other side of the world. I don't envy everything that happened after that. There's always been bravery in your actions. As your grandson, I'm proud of that. Unfortunately, I don't know how to end my letter to you. As we both know, we can talk for hours without saying anything meaningful, so I will try to end here. I hope you've enjoyed Dearest Suzie, and that reliving these memories hasn't been too tough for you. I hope you see that people are interested in these stories. Popi went through a lot, but it wasn't in vain. People have heard his story. I hope you like the way that I told it. Sincerely, and with love, Alex.